Why don't you introduce yourself and your car to the viewers?
My name's Tony, and this is my 2017 Acura NSX.
Why did you end up choosing this car, and also give us a little bit of the background of your journey with cars in general?
This car in particular, so I've been an NSX guy since about 08. I've had 4 first-gen NSXs, so 2 NA1s and 2 NA2s. Owned that platform for so long. Love the NSXs in general. It was you know, kind of like a poster car for me when I was like a young kid. So when these came out, like I really liked them. Like my favorite thing aesthetically about this car is the silhouette. I got to test drive a couple of them through like demos that dealers were having and stuff like that for current owners, and I basically just kind of fell in love with it. I've wanted one. You know, it's kind of been 8 years in the making on you know, getting this. This is just a platform I've been really familiar with, that I really love and enjoy. This gen is just a lot different than the older one, like in a lot of, I don't want to say like good ways or bad ways, but it's just very different. And for me, like, you know, picking up this car, it was kind of the point where I was ready to kind of move on and kind of have a change. It kind of checked all the boxes that I wanted, like, you know, in the next car that I was looking for.
Let's do a quick walk around, and then you could talk about some mods that are done to the car, but let's start off with the front.
Sure. So front, there's like nothing in there except for a big radiator and like a bunch of piping and hoses and stuff. So
oh wait, yeah, you're right. I thought this was the front.
There. And then just like a battery and just nothing exciting. So there's only one trunk. It's in the back. So. Okay.
All right. Well, let's go over there.
Funny thing is, like, the trunk space versus this one versus the old one. The older gen actually has a bigger trunk.
Okay.
Than this one, which is kind of goofy, but. But yeah, so this is how you access the engine and everything.
I don't think this is a daily for you, but how would you say the trunk space, like you've learned to live with it, I guess?
The trunk space hasn't really been a big deal for me. You know, it is a weekend car. Yeah. I do run errands, and the one, like, pros and cons with this, like one of the big pros with this car is like it's a very dailyable, livable car. Like, so I can take it to Costco, or I wouldn't take it to Costco, but but I can take it to run errands and stuff. And but usually, you know, if I'm doing errands or whatever in this car, you know, I'm not doing anything that drastic that requires like a lot of room or anything. So the trunk space is not that big of a deal. You know. You know, I always throw stuff inside the car too. Let's
get a look at the engine. So can you give us some details on, like, you know, what this means and all that, and then also like just power figures or specs?
Sure. So this is a 3.5 liter twin turbo hybrid. So it makes 573 horsepower total. It's about 500, I believe, from the motor, and the rest comes from the hybrid batteries. Okay. So all the NSXs, like, this is kind of how you see the engine bays. All have an engine cover. This one just either get carbon, or you either get just like a flat black or like a matte black, like plastic cover. But they're all numbered. To tell you the truth, I don't know how accurate like the numbers are on, like, you know, what the car, you know, if that's like the number of the like it came out of the factory or anything like that. But just all the cars are numbered. To access a lot of the things, obviously they just have to remove them. Like here, like you access, like, you know, the oil and things like that.
We do see an interesting customized license plate, so why don't we get a little background on what this means?
Sure. So okay, so this license plate is kind of an inside joke, and it didn't start with me. It started with my friend. So it was one of my friends I met through like the NSX community. We were actually trying to come up with vanity plate like names or whatever, and I was the one actually who was trying to come up with something, because I wanted to put it on one of my older cars. And he actually came up with this, and I was like, oh, that, you know, that's so funny, that's genius. Like, you know, I'm Vietnamese, so like, you know, so I find it really funny. And then what ended up happening was he was like, oh, hey, like, do you mind if I put it on my car instead? I'm like, yeah, dude, go for it. You came up with it. So then, so anyways, it was actually on his car for the length of time that he owned it. And then he ended up selling it. And then when he sold it, I was like, hey, like, I want your plate, like, if you're going to keep it. So then he ended up giving me the plate, so then I put it on my car. So that's why I have that. Another side story to that is that when he gave the plate to me, I told him that, you know, if he ever got another car, like, I would give it back to him, and that hasn't happened yet. So
cool, for sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of the backstory on how that came about.
Why don't we do a quick ownership review of the NSX, how long you've had it, and just any pros and cons that you've come across.
I'm pretty fresh still. I got this at the beginning, a couple weeks into May.
Oh,
so it's been about let's see, it's been about a month, a little over a month. I kind of knew what to expect getting in the car, but obviously if you don't, if you've never had one, you don't know.
Yeah.
And the car's been everything that I imagined it would be. I'm used to older cars, so like it's very modern. That's what I expected. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's very comfortable. Like I can, I can drive this up to LA or San Diego, like no issues, like or not. And I don't, There's not the old car stigma with it, which it's a good or bad thing, I guess. But yeah, so far my impression, I really liked it. Like handles very well. The question I get a lot since I owned the old gen for so long is like, how, what's the big difference, or what's kind of your takeaway between this and the older one. And the one thing that I really love about this NSX and the older NSX is there's still like a visceral, you still got this visceral reaction from the car still. Okay. It's on a different spectrum though, because like the older car, it's analog, everything, it like rattles and does all the old car stuff, but like but in a good way and or whatever. And this car, it's very modern, like it's very quiet, but when you drive it, you'll receive like a lot of feedback from the car, that makes the driving experience like, very engaging, that I find, kind of like the old one is, but it's just in a different way. So far, the experience has been really great. So the pros and cons of it, there's not really any cons that really stand out to me when it comes to like the ownership, driving, or experience of it.
Okay.
One con that I run into, since I'm a guy that likes to modify my cars, is that there's not a lot of aftermarket support. So it's a good or bad thing. It helps me from not wasting money on stuff I shouldn't buy, but on the other hand, like I have to be more creative on if I want to modify the car or not. One of the big things that like a lot of the modern like sports cars have are like the front axle lifts, and there's aftermarket kits for that, but like the aftermarket kit for this car like is discontinued, so you can't buy it anymore. So you're either buying something secondhand, or you're just kind of driving static, which is the way I have it right now, which is fine. It's manageable. It's very drivable. I can still pretty much kind of go anywhere. It's just I don't have that like adjustability. I don't have the adjustability if I wanted to get it around. So but like driving experience and everything, like everything's been really great with it. I don't really have any cons or gripes or anything about that. It's just a lot of getting used to like newer things. Like kind of wanted this is like a big first world problem that I have, but like the car came with carbon ceramic brakes and they're squeaky, and I'm not used to that. So but I'm enjoying kind of everything that kind of comes with it. With the ownership of it right now.
Why don't we talk about the current mods on the car and then your future plans with it?
Sure. So the car is like, it's really not modded right now. The only thing that I did right away is I put Science of Speed makes these lowering a lowering kit for it, so I installed that. And then the car has aftermarket downpipes on it. That's probably like, if someone asked me like what's something I should do to the car, or what's something I should, at least something that's worth the money, would be the downpipes on this car, because it literally changes the whole personality of it. And it comes to like the noises, because like the turbo noises that you hear, like the spool and everything, like it's just so cool.
That's
and for me, like I come from a world where all my cars in the past have been NA, so like the whole owning a turbo car is like very new for me. So mod wise, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty high spec car. So like factory accessory wise, it has the carbon ceramic brakes. You have these they call them Y-spoke pattern wheels. Like these are this is an optional feature you could get. Then also has every single carbon option you could get for the car back in 17. So you have the carbon lip on the front, and then it has the carbon top.
Oof.
And then inside door sills, and then you have the carbon trim on the steering wheel, and then the carbon gauge cluster shroud here, and then on the back you have a carbon spoiler, the diffuser's carbon, and then engine cover, which we saw earlier, that's carbon fiber too.
Okay, so these are all options.
Yeah, so these are all factory options you could get, and this one in particular got spec'd with all of them. So,
nice.
but other than that, like that's kind of all where it's at right now. I'm basically in the space where I'm just trying to enjoy the car and I'll get more used to it. I'm gonna get wheels for it at some point. I can never make up my mind on wheels. It takes me a long time to do it, so I don't know when that will be. And it's tough because they don't make a lot of there's not a lot of aftermarket support when it comes to the wheel selection. And a lot of the times owners will end up doing like custom sets or custom sizes, which, you know, like if I'm buying a set of Advans, those are, you know, $4 or $5 grand, and, you know, custom sets are, you know, 10K plus. So, you know, that's just
true.
So, you know, it's just one of those things I'll eventually do in the future when I kind of figure out, I guess, what I want to do or what style I want to do. But like as of right now, like the car is good. I'm really happy with the car the way it is, and yeah, the big thing, like when I first got it, was to lower it, because man, like the car looks like it sits really high when it's OEM, but like it's still like it's funny, like the body itself, like still pretty low to the ground, but yeah, but the stance and everything is finally kind of the way I want it. So yeah, so right now it's just basically just kind of enjoying it the way it is, getting used to it more.
This is my first time in a new gen NSX. It's pretty crazy here, actually, like super modern, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. But this thing can actually drive in full EV mode, right?
Yeah, so that is kind of a unique thing about it, especially in 17. So you can see it's like quiet. It's like silent right now because it's in quiet mode. So I can drive in just plain on electric power. And it's just silent. So this is, back in 17, the only other cars you could get with this tech would be the LaFerrari.
Oh my god.
The P1 and the 918 had like this tech in it. So
that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, like, you know, nowadays, like most of the modern supercars, they all have, like, they're all switching to this tech where they all have a hybrid system where like you can run off a battery power if you want.
Like the SF90?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool, actually.
So yeah, it's a very unique thing about it. It's good for me, like for when I'm coming home in the neighborhood, that I don't, you know, upset my neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, the car's not super loud anyways, but where I live, like all the garages like in an alley, so like if you do have a really loud car, like everything just kind of bounces off, like the sound just kind of bounces off the walls. So
when does the gas part kick in? Like there has to be like a speed, right, or something?
If you give a certain amount of gas to the throttle, it will kick on like it is right now. Or if it runs low on like battery charge, then it will kick on. And then, you know, switch back to the gas engine. So it takes a getting used to, because like you don't know like when it's gonna, at first, like I didn't really know it was gonna flip on and off, and it was just kind of confusing, like to kind of like understand it. But it's actually pretty simple. It's just, you know, like the length of mileage I can get on it just kind of depends on how flat the ground is. If a completely flat ground, like I can probably squeak out like, I don't know, like 2-3 miles on it or something just by itself on electric. But you know, usually the ground's not flat. So
we would do some pulls, but it's kind of hot right now and we don't want to get pulled over. But if you do want to get pulls, we could definitely get another video when he does more mods to the car, and we'll definitely get some pulls in that video. But for this one, it's just going to be a kind of a quick overview of the NSX. But yeah, make sure to comment if you do want to get some pulls in the next one.